All right. Looks like we're recording here August 19th. Summer's cooking right along. I see Chris McLean is not on here. I don't know if he's going to pop on, but if he does, you guys kind of shout out a happy birthday to him. This is his birthday, and
Nice.
he's pretty excited about it. And it's funny. He always says this is one of his favorite lines. He says it's going to be a big show, a really big show. So just classic. But anyway, thought I'd throw that out. I've got a lot. Talk about a really big show. I've got a lot of stuff for you guys today. So sometimes I'm thin on content. Well, today I'm pretty thick on it. So we're gonna have a lot of really good stuff to cover. So let me let me get started. We're going to cover some stuff about SEO. I know some of you guys are still interested in that, but SEO mostly has to do with content these days. So that's a big thing. And no matter how you get your traffic is like key importance. You obviously you have to have your funnel built. You've got to be able to convert and generate leads. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to show you some lead generation methods that I've been using here over the last few weeks. They're super easy, super cheap, all that. So like I said, I got some really cool stuff for you today. So let's start with content. I'm going to go over here, and there's an article that just got put out by Link Assistant. And they make one of the pieces of SEO software that I use and I make referrals to occasionally, called SEO PowerSuite. Now, it's not cheap. If you're not in the SEO field and you don't care about that stuff, don't run out and buy this thing because it's not cheap. And unless you're really hardcore into SEO, it's not for you. But they have a lot of really good articles though. So I wanted to share this with you. I'm going to share the screen here. I will actually copy this because I'm going to go through this real quick because I know some of you guys could care less about this. But in the chat, let me find the chat. I'm going to put the link in here. So if any of you guys want to delve into there's the link for it. If you want to read through it in more detail, I'm just going to cover it real quick here. But it's about content. It's about getting content to show up to get people onto your website. And that's what SEO is all about. It's about people searching for what you have. You've got to have content to make that connection though. If you've got good content, Google will feature you. And then the people that are looking for you find it, click on it. Now they're on your site. Now you've got to convert them. So that's kind of the process here. So Google has gotten really elaborate over the last several years. It's not just 10 search engine results. Now it's graphical. They're showing videos. So video is a piece of content that you could create. When you create videos and you post them on YouTube, there's a good chance if you get the titles optimized and you optimize the name of your file and all that stuff, it's a good chance that Google will feature it for you. If it's good content, people are interacting with it, Google will feature it in their search results. That can get you a lot of traffic. Over here, you see there's a shopping thing. If you're searching in Google, you're probably seeing shopping results now. They have an entire shopping mechanism. If you've got stuff to sell, there's no reason that you shouldn't list it in their shopping system. Because when you do, it can show up. They can actually feature you. So these are opportunities. These are all really, really solid opportunities to get traffic for free from Google. So that's what this is all about. This is like the tool. This is the tool I was talking about here, or one of them. And it'll take keywords and it will show you over here, Google Serp features. So these are features like for this particular keyword, Nike React. I would imagine that's a type of a shoe. It shows there's links, there's images, there's reviews, and there's ads. Now, what I don't see is I don't see any videos. That means if you were to make a video review, let's say you were selling these Nike React shoes, there's no videos for it. If you were to go over to Google, or you were to go to YouTube rather, make a video specific to this Nike React, they would probably feature it for you. How cool would that be? You would have the only video that showed up for that. People would go to it. You'd tell them how cool the shoes are, how you offer a discount, thank them for showing up, and boom, you've got a sale. Just like that. There's images. This is featured images. There's, I think that might be shopping. That's probably the shopping button there. And then the question, that's questions and answers. And I've talked about this a couple of times. That's a really good place for you to show up answering questions for people that are interested in what you do. So that's part of this tool. It'll show you these opportunities. Now there's other tools that do this as well. It's just, this is a feature of their rank tracker. So here's the 9 pieces that they talk about in this article. One of them is product pages, creating a product page. One of them, I talked about this, the Google Merchant Center. This is the shopping. This is Google's shopping engine. All you have to do is list your products in there and they're available for the world. Pretty cool stuff. We've talked about this one over the last couple of weeks, the Google My Business page. It's another place where people can find you. Here is they call it Listicle blog posts. These are basically just blog posts. I don't know why they come up with that funky name for it, but creating content and seeding it out on the internet. Here's another one, guide blog posts. I think what they meant was this is more like lists, like bulleted lists, and this is guides. If you have a product or a service or something that you specialize in, and people don't really understand it, you could make a guide for it. You could give the guide away for free as a list generation tool. That's a really good thing to do. Here's reviews and ratings. There's a lot of people, especially the younger folks, they believe anything they read on the internet. And the first thing they want to do, if they're interested in you or interested in something that you're offering or talking about, they're going to go look and see if it's true. They're going to see what other people have to say. That's where reviews and ratings are really important. And unfortunately, you can game those systems. It doesn't really mean that you've got good reviews. It just means that's what they're going to see, unfortunately. But again, the younger folks, like this cracks me up. My nephew, you would think he could trust me, right? He's known me his entire life. I've never steered him wrong. Anything I say, the little bastard's pulling it up on Google, seeing if I'm telling him the truth. I'm like, seriously?
I do the same, John, just to let you know.
Yeah, it's just, it's just the way they're wired. I don't know. It's bizarre. And then we've got Q&A. This is the questions, answers. People are asking questions, especially in Google now. They're typing their questions in, looking for answers. So if you're supplying answers, you're like a match made in heaven for Google. They're going to feature those answers because that's what people are looking for. They're not looking for products, not looking for offers. They're looking for answers. So if you supply the answers and no one else does, guess who they're going to feature, right? It's really just that simple. You've got YouTube videos. Again, I spoke about that a little bit earlier. A lot of times, all you have to do is just show up where there's no other videos talking about that content, and it's a shoe in. And Pinterest boards. I'm not really a Pinterest player, but this is another opportunity. If you're a Pinterest poster or whatever that is, it's just another opportunity for you. And then this article, like I said, I put the link in the chat if you guys want to go through and read this more in depth. I'm just kind of covering it at a high level. So here's like what the products show up as. And you can, Google has all these different features, like if you were a canvas bag here or whatever, you could go in there and they show leather, nylon, canvas, under $150, over $600. Michael Kors, whatever, that's probably a brand name.
Where was this again, Michael? I mean, John, Michael,
This
Michael Kors.
This is basically the product feature. This is Google Shopping.
Okay.
So if you have products, you can go in and you can list them in their shopping network, and then they could show up here. And then Google's really good at putting puzzles together. They're really good because they have all this data about what people do after the fact, like what they click on, where they go. Like they know when people click on something, they might have been looking for a more expensive item. So that's why they're giving you options of price. They're giving you options of material, even manufacturers. They're getting these from what people are doing. This is its artificial intelligence at work. Like you might have originally searched for just the bag, but then you went back and refined your search to the bag in canvas or the bag in leather. They're getting this from actual user data. And they're basically trying to just make it easy by giving you the shortcuts. They're like, hey, other people that look for this, they liked it in leather. It's a recommendation. So pretty cool stuff. That's the shopping part. They call it the merchant center. Again, this is just shopping. This is actual products showing up. It shows the price. You can just click to buy. It's pretty awesome. Let's see. Here's Google My Business. We covered this, I think a couple weeks ago. We covered this one, a little more in depth. But again, it's a listing for your business. It's got a link to your website. You can put directions. You can put call. They can just call you. Click the button and call. Here's what it looks like in mobile. So again, it's very graphical. People love graphics. They don't want just a big block of text on their phone. They want to be entertained. They want to be, consumed in the system, in the experience. Here's what they call listicle blog posts. And I was right, it's lists, it's bulleted lists. So if you're making blog posts with bulleted lists of things, that's something they've identified as an opportunity. You could show up as one of these listicle listings. I had never even heard about that till today. So the first time I've actually seen that. But here again, these are lists. These are just categorized lists, and they could show up graphically. I talked about guides a few minutes ago, making a guide for like how to do something, how to choose a camera bag, the buying guide. You can do this for anything. It doesn't have to be like, how to pick the best model of Ferrari. It could be for something like a camera bag. It could be for anything that you do, anything that you specialize in. There's things about that the average person doesn't know. So you can enlighten them. You can be the one that guides them. And by doing this, this is one of the places where I teach in the ACT program how to set buying criteria. What you want to do is you want to set the ABCs of buying this product so no one else in the world aligns with it. That's where your unique mechanisms can come in. You talk about your unique mechanism in the buying guide. They can't find that anywhere else. So you're teaching them not only how to buy this particular thing, you're also letting them discover that this thing doesn't exist anywhere except for in your shopping cart. That's a pretty good place to position yourself. Okay, there's some examples. Here's reviews and ratings. There's snippets that can actually allow this to be displayed. And what I mean by snippets, they're schema codes. You guys have probably heard me, make reference to that in the past. If you don't know what that is, you can just contact your web developer, your your hosting company, your tech team, whoever's doing your work for you, and just tell them, hey, I'd like some schema codes put in my pages that do this or this. There's a lot of different schema codes. One of them is the reviews. And when you have that, it shows the little stars here. It'll give you a rating. It'll tell how many reviews. That's this is a product. It's given the price there. That's another schema code that you can put in there. So again, anything that draws the eye to your listing is going to help it get clicked more.
Can you actually list, like, for example, if I'm selling electromagnetic meters and they're listed somewhere else and have really high rating, can I use that rating? Or does it have to be?
This is only a rating really for your stuff.
Okay.
This is like for what you're doing. One of the places where these ratings come from is your GMB page. People can rate your GMB and you can get, a good rating. Like if you look at mine, it's a 5-star rating. Almost everybody has given me a 5-star on it.
John,
So,
GMB is Google Merchant.
GMB is Google My Business. It's like your business listing in Google. It's like one of the most basic things for all business owners. It's free. You can just go to Google and just, you already have the account. If you have a Gmail address and you have a Google account, you already have access to all of the stuff. So you just have to go in and just set it up. Like when you're in your Google account or your Gmail or whatever, you've got that little button up at the top that's got, I think it's got like 9 dots on it for more. When you click that, it'll open a huge menu of stuff. It's all cool, free stuff that Google gives you. And your business listing, your Google My Business listing is one of them.
I remember you're covering that. I didn't mean to derail you. I just hadn't
No
put together.
problem.
That's the acronym.
Yep.
I remember the review I gave you like 3 years ago, and you thanked me for it on Google. You told me 3 years ago about it, John.
Yeah. None of the stuff is really new. There's some stuff that, even though I don't know about it, it's not new. It's like I'm constantly discovering stuff that's been around for a long time. But anyway, this is what it looks like in Google. It'll show your user reviews, 15 reviews, an average 4.7. And it'll show how many 5s, how many 4s, and so on. And then if you want to read them, you can actually read the reviews. So pretty cool stuff. And then Q&A. Again, this is if Google knows people are asking questions, it starts looking for answers. It wants the most relevant content. So if it can find answers, it's going to list them. And here's another Q&A schema. That's that schema code, those snippets that you can add into your HTML that will help Google decipher that, hey, this is answering questions. So then they put it in the queue and they're like, okay, where would this fit? Is this good content? Should we feature it? They go through their whole scenario of whether to put you in the lineup or not. But that schema, that Q&A schema will help them decide that. It's like you putting your hand up and say, I have answers for you, Google. You've got questions, I've got answers. Take a look. That's basically what it does for you. And see here where it says people also ask. These are questions. This is Google's AI at work figuring out what else are you interested in. They know if you ask that question, you're probably going to ask this question next based on past experience of them with a gazillion users using their system. So they're really good at predictive stuff because of their AI. So, okay, let's see. And then YouTube videos, this is pretty self-explanatory. If there's no content on a particular subject in video, Google is liable to feature it, a very high likelihood. So again, that's a good thing for you to supply content. These are ways that you can get in front of people. And when I say people, I'm talking about the people you want to be in front of. So again, another good source. Here's some of the stuff. I think I've talked about this before, like how to optimize a YouTube video. Title and description, tags, closed captions help search engines understand the content better. Timestamps, because Google looks for relevance. If it's fresh, new content, more likely it's going to get featured. So those are some of the things. One of the things it did not list here is the actual naming of your video file. A lot of times, you'll create a video and it'll have this just funky, bizarre user generated or machine generated name to it. Don't use that. Click on it once, click on it twice, and it will allow you to edit the name. Change the name to the same title that you're using for the video. That will make it very relevant. When they see that the actual file name is the same as the title name, that gives it high credence. So that's another little trick that you can do. And then the Pinterest boards, this is probably one of the things I know least about. Tom Petty here on the call could probably do us a lot better with this one. Or the not Tom Petty. But anyway, it's all about photos. This is more of a social media platform. Again, same thing. If you're putting photos up in here, I can almost guarantee, I don't know the system offhand, but I can almost guarantee you the same rules apply in optimization here as in YouTube. So when you're uploading photos, name your photos the same thing as your title for that, and that will help you. So good stuff. And that's really it for this. I wanted to cover that. It's just content. You all need content. You should be focused on this. Now, back to the whole marketing thing here. Your content should be based on what your users want. Back to the ACT program, doing your analysis. This is one of the things I was specifically going to ask of Kaya, because she sent in a thing to look at her sleep system. And this is one of the things, and it doesn't matter. I'm gonna use her as an example today, but it doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing. There's 3 big questions that you have to answer for yourself before you start writing copy, before you start creating content. You really need to understand these 3 questions. And the first one is, what do they want? A lot of times we try and force feed them stuff that they don't want. Like, I've learned this early on in SEO. I've been an SEO guy since way back. Like, we're talking more than 20 years at this point. What I came to the conclusion, it was a real hard reality for me, but nobody wants SEO. They don't want it. They don't sit up late at night thinking, God, if I only had SEO, my life would be great. They don't do that. What they're thinking is what they want what it does. That's what they really want. So if you're not keyed in on that, you're pushing something they don't want. That's not going to end well for you. Any sales presentation you're doing, if you're pushing something that is not wanted, the thing that's not going to be wanted at the end is you. You're not going to create trust and rapport. You're going to be a pain in their ass, and they're going to just be thinking, God, how can I get out of this quickly? How can I not answer this guy's call ever again? That's what they're going to be thinking. That's not good for you. So the next thing, after you get the answer of what is it that they want, the second most important thing is, why do they want it? And it ties very tightly with the third one, is, what is it going to do for them? When you figure those 3 things out, what they want, why they want it, and what it's ultimately going to do for them, now you can speak to their heart. Now you can start making promises that matter. Now you can start creating big ideas that's going to snap their head over and get them to look at what you just said. Those 3 things are really, really important. So I just want to kind of preface that before we look at Kaya's sleep system here.
Hey, John, would you be open to repeating those 3 things again? This is Sylvie.
Oh, sure. So the first thing is, what do they want? The second thing is, why do they want that? And the third thing is, what is it ultimately going to do for them? And this goes directly to the timeline. This goes directly to where they are on the timeline and where they want to be. It's I call it their desired outcome. where none of us are at our desired outcome. If you want $1 million and I drop it on the table and you say thank you, you're not at your desired outcome. You're just at a new timeline. Now you got $1 million. Now you're going to want more stuff, right? It's like, you give the monster a cookie, he's going to want milk, right? You didn't just want the $1 million. You wanted what it's going to do for you. You don't just want $1 million just to have it. You want it for something. It might be as simple as you just want security. You just want to know that you're going to be able to live the rest of your life and not have to worry about money. You might not ever spend a dime of it. It might just be there as a security buffer. But you've got to figure that out. You've got to figure out why they want it. Women are often driven by security. A lot of times what they want is they want to feel secure. If we're talking about scars, they want to feel secure. They don't want to feel attacked. They believe like this is something that it's in men too, but women, and I don't want to offend or upset anybody because I know you guys on here are not the typical woman. You guys are entrepreneurial women. You're in a different class, but you take the average woman, they're a little more frail. They're a little more sensitive. So if they think that people are talking behind their back, it really hurts them. It really hurts their feelings. So the security of getting rid of that scar, knowing that's not ever going to happen again, just puts them in a euphoric thought process. It's like they never have to deal with that again. That's a freeing, very liberating thing. So again, you've got to figure it out. You got to figure out, what do they want? Why do they want it? What is it going to do for them? And then you can speak their language. Then you can whisper in their ear and they fall in love with you. So, and it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, we're all the same. We want things. We want them for reasons. And in marketing, the most important thing you're ever going to do is figure out those reasons and use that languaging. In dating, they talk about the language of love. You've got to figure out, what drives your partner or what drives who you're trying to attract, or you're never going to attract them. You're never going to get along with them. It's the same thing. Marketing and dating, and it's really funny. Marketing, dating, and warfare, I have found a lot of commonality to. As crazy as that might seem. And depending on who I'm talking to, I might put it all into the the theme of war. If I'm talking to a highly competitive guy, especially somebody that's come out of the military, I'm relating it all to warfare. And they eat it up. They totally get it. They totally get the similarities. And it's like I'm giving them battle commands. They're ready to go into battle now. And that's their language. So again, that's where the ACT program is so powerful of getting it right. You all need to get it right. You've got an unlimited amount of chances to get it right, but why not sharpen your sword a little bit and get it right quicker, right? Even the best of people at marketing, they don't always get it right the first time, but they'll get it right pretty quick. They don't spend 10 years, trying one thing after another just aimlessly. They're very methodical. They're testing. They're trying something. They're looking at the results. They're altering course. They're trying it again, and they're getting to it quicker. So that's what the ACT thing can do. That's it. These systems have been in play in advertising for well over 100 years. Some of them I've tracked back to Benjamin Franklin. That's almost 300 years ago, and they're still being used exactly the same today as they were back then. So that tells me that these things are pretty well proven. It's like Tony Robbins says, if you want something someone's got, you need to do what they did to get it. So if you look at successful marketers over hundreds of years and you want what they've got, you have to do what they did to get it. It's the same thing. They use these formulas. What I did is just packaged it all up and gift wrapped it for you. You know, that's the beauty of the system, going through and actually learning it. You know, you may not want to do that, but I can assure you that in business, this skill set is by far the most valuable thing you're ever going to learn. You can take it with you from the rest of your life for anything that you do, anybody you come in contact with, you'll be able to help them. So it's all good stuff. So Kaya, I looked at your 3 examples there, and let me see if I can find them here.
And also just
There.
look at my website on the front page too.
Okay. What's the site? What's the name of the site?
CHI Home Designs. I love what you're saying, and I totally agree. And I've kind of been steamrolling ahead with creating the program, and then I met you, and I'm like, oh my god, you know,
that
you know. And I'm
happens.
65. I'm going. I know I only have so much energy to keep, but I totally get what you're saying. Is that it needs to happen. And I love it. You're like my gold mine.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
like, you know, we're all in business for one reason, right? It's to be successful, whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
And it's just how quick can we get there?
So how I arrived at this originally, but that was 2 years ago now. That's how slow I am at this. Was I did these Google Trends, and someone gave me a formula, and I found the sweet spot. And it was basically sleep disorders. I looked at all the long tail keywords and all that. So I found it in an area that I knew would grow, and it was evergreen. It would be all year round. And so that was people with challenges with sleep.
Okay. So
And
somebody that lands here is going to think you sell beds.
Okay.
That's what they're going to think.
Yeah. So I've changed my website probably 3 times in the last week.
Okay.
So I don't know what to do is really the truth.
Okay. No, it's really important. This is like that thing where they say you never get another chance at a first impression. This is your first impression. Above the fold on your website is your first impression.
So can I preface this? Because this is the part that's unclear, is that I do home design primarily, and I also do electromagnetic field diagnostics and mitigation, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get someone else to do it. So I do home design. And so my focus has been sleep. And so I had that on my website, and I kind of freaked out going, you know, what about all my design clients, or the people that I can attract through design? So I kind of went back to that, and then have the sleep underneath. So,
Okay. So home design and sleep are a couple of vastly different categories. Unless you have to kind of find a primary goal. Like if it's people that have sleep disorders and you can attach home design to the way they're going to sleep, that's one thing. But having the two
I
they're
know.
not very tightly related unless you're talking about a real sliver niche. But there's probably a lot of people that have sleep disorder.
Well, most people don't know that it's their environment has a huge impact. So
Okay.
that's the part that I'm really lost.
Gotcha. But
My passion is design, not the
Okay.
sleep part.
Okay, so it's kind of like you got to figure out how you want to attack the market and what the market really is and what they want. If your market really is design and that's what you want to do, the sleep thing could just be a benefit of that. But I thought it was like a primary lead product that you wanted to go into.
Well, that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Okay. So looking at your email, you've got design of sleep, science of sleep, alchemy of sleep.
So there's an online, that's all part of an online program that I'm creating. So I have where people can hire me privately, or they can do an online program, but there's so much work in creating that. And
Okay.
that's where I'm a little blown away. So I'm doing
And
just the
it's-
design of sleep right now.
And it's not really like creating an online program is not that difficult. It
It's just the
really is.
content. Yeah.
It might just be something that you're telling yourself, which is making it true. But the reality is with Kartra, it really isn't that difficult. I mean, if you can type and create content, and it's just a matter of putting it in there in a.
Not difficult. It's overwhelming. That's not the right word.
Gotcha. Okay.
I've already got it all dialed in with Teachable. I'm doing a PowerPoint. I'm loading the PowerPoint. I'm doing it on Canva, which is phenomenal. I'm blown away. And I'm loading it all into Camtasia, which I have, and I'll make it into a video. So each section will be a video with a PowerPoint.
Okay.
Great graphics and videos. And
So on your home design stuff, is it primarily related to the bedroom and sleeping and a relaxing environment, or is it you talking the entire house?
I do the whole home, but I was trying to go on, well, should I do, if I don't do something, because it's about, that's the part I don't know.
Okay.
It's like sleep and design. Well, I just don't, my entry point I chose was sleep, just because I
Okay.
had to pick something.
So what I would probably do is like a headline here is something like sleep alchemy.
Mhm.
It's kind of mysterious. They don't really know what it is. And then the tagline, the science of sleep. So that would kind of be the,
I like it.
the leader and the tagline. And then as far as a unique mechanism of what you deliver could be like you specialize in a deep REM sleep trigger. And I'm just making this shit up. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if this fits or not, but that's a unique mechanism. That's the thing that delivers the result of the good sleep, the deep REM sleep.
So for something like, because it's not that, it's that I can look at an environment and I can diagnose the challenges that are there,
Okay.
unlock the things that keep the blueprint from sleep, because we all have the blueprint for sleep, but it's getting blocked.
Gotcha. Okay. So
it's
it's kind of the same thing. So you have a name for that unique mechanism to get what they want. And then you have to figure out, why do they want it? Is it keeping them from being active during the day? So I put, and again, I'm just for sake of an example of what I would do in here is, we've got the deep REM sleep trigger. This is the thing that does the work. It induces deep sleep that will have you waking up energized and ready for anything that the day might bring your way.
Mhm.
Something like that. But again, to get that right, I just threw that together as the sake of an example.
Mhm.
To get that actually right, you have to answer the three things. What does somebody want when they come to you?
Mhm.
Why do they want it?
Mhm.
And what is it going to do for them? Then you can actually really go to work and do the marketing. You can start making promises. You can start creating unique mechanisms that's going to deliver on the promise and those intriguing ways, like the alchemy. That's an intriguing way to say it.
I love that word too. I mean, I'm a total environmental alchemist.
Yeah, so it's a great word. People and it's mysterious.
Mhm.
Like people think of, it's a wizard, it's magic. It's
Mhm.
cool. So anyway, that's without really having you pinpointing exactly what you want to do. Those are just kind of rough, raw examples of how to attack it.
So when I finish going, because I still haven't finished with your program, when I finish going through the program I signed up for, I'm a little confused on the site, like if there's all these different, I mean, I really want to not get lost in the minutia, but I need to do the components that you're speaking of. So,
yeah, and it's really, it's all baseline knowledge is what it is.
mhm.
You might use it in a different order. Don't think that you have to go through and do everything piece by piece, item by item, line for line. It's a lot of stuff, but it's all based on here's the tools at your disposal. Here's, these are just tools at your disposal to do the job.
Mhm.
It's like people go through the avatar thing, and I've got a ton of different avatar questions, but 9 times out of 10, half of them aren't related to what you're doing.
Mm.
It's examples, and there might be stuff that is related to what you're doing that I didn't even think about.
Mhm.
So it's not meant to be an exact, step-by-step, paint by numbers type of program.
Mhm.
It's as close as I could possibly get it to that, but that's not what it is.
So quick question. I lost all my savings, $100,000 to bankruptcy in Marin County of all places. So I lost all my savings and I have very little income coming in right now. And it's like, I know I'll get taken care of. Everything will get handled, however it gets handled. But my question is, once I finish going through the pieces with the program, can I sit down with you for an hour? Is that something that I could carve out where I could just land the wordsmithing of it, roughly the wordsmithing of it? Or is that something that, it's going to take me 6 months? Because I'll probably just drop the whole thing at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Just-
you would have to be pretty far down the road for us to work that out in an hour.
yeah.
I mean, a lot of times it'll take me more than an hour just to fine tune a big idea.
Mhm.
That's one of the things. Like, I know several of you guys are in the apprentice program, and that's what we do. Like every week, we're working piece by piece through it, and things come up along the way. Like a lot of times, an apprentice will get on the call and they're like, "Oh, this happened. How do I deal with this?" And it's fine. It's a very free flowing type of thing. But you're more than welcome to, if cost is an issue, I mean, just stay in here. I mean, it's $30 a month to stay in here and get the guidance as you go through. It might take you longer, but you're still going to get there.
Great. Yeah.
We'll never give up on you.
I know yeah.
We'll keep on pulling you down the road as long as it takes.
Sweet. Thank you.
Sure,
Thank you so much for
absolutely.
your time. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. So I've got other stuff here I want to share as well. So let me get back over to the share thing again. All right. Okay. So I wanted to talk about leads. There's a lot of ways you can generate leads, but one of the ways that, and I've talked about this before many, many times, is I like to piggyback or ride on the coattails of others that are going to do the work for me. Like, I love webinars. I love contacting an influencer and have them put me on a webinar, and I can present and I can sell and we all make money. I love those kind of things. One of the things I hadn't done, which I've heard about for many, many years, I've been tempted, but for whatever reason, just didn't do it, is info summits. A lot of times an info summit is somebody that's putting together almost like an online workshop or seminar or trade show or whatever, where a bunch of people come in, you have a bunch of speakers and everybody presents, and there's a lot of giveaways. So you can participate in two ways. You can either participate as a giveaway provider, where you're giving value, you're giving bonuses for the people that put it on to give away. What that does is that attracts more people into the info summit for them. They make money when people buy stuff. So they're trying to get as many people into that as possible so they can listen to the speakers and buy the speakers' merchandise. That's how they make money. But the giveaways, they use those as enticements to get you in. So they're open to all kinds of, freebie things that you can give away. So one of the things I looked at, okay, what do I have access to? So I don't have to create something new. And I had the client acquisition system. It's the predictable client getting system. So guess what? This is the ACT program. All I did was I went over and I had an infographic made by somebody at Fiverr. So when you sign up, I put it in Kartra. So I've got the button right on the site. Now they can download it. So when they download it, they can save it. Now let's see, there it is. So all this is just a PDF of analysis, creation, and traffic. So what this is going to do is this is going to show somebody, hey, this is how ad agencies work. This is how I get clients. First, I do analysis. I segment my market. These are the 3 things I use to do that. Then I create my avatar. Here's the 3 things that are important in creating the avatar. Here's my competitor analysis. Here's the 3 things I'm looking at. Then you go into creation. And it's really, this is just a breakdown of the ACT program. What do you think is going to happen after somebody consumes this? They're going to want to know more detail about each one of those steps. That's where, let's see, I'm just scrolling through here real quick to get to the bottom. I'm giving them a lot of very useful information, but it's incomplete. And then I make the statement at the end, profit doesn't have to be painful. And I connect it to the ACT program. Now I follow this up with a video. Like here's a video of me talking about it, talking about how this all fits together, what it does for them, what it's going to mean to their business and all of that stuff. So that's, and again, I think I paid like $25 to have this infographic made on Fiverr. I think I paid another, I think it was another $10 to have this graphic made on Fiverr. So that was pretty much my outlay. And then I created a Zoom video to go along with it. That comes as a follow-up email. And that was pretty much about it. So that was one. And then the second one here, I had already done this. I already had in here, I've got a knowledge base. This is basically just a blog in my website about stuff that I teach. So here's conversion optimizers. And here's the top conversion maximizers for your website and marketing funnels. I had already written an article about it, but what I did, I just came back and I changed the title of the article. And I had another infographic made, $10 on Fiverr, you know, showing the top 50 conversion maximizers. Not really showing them, but it portrays, hey, this is a book, this is a real thing. And then I made it specific to JV Insiders. That's the people that are putting the summit together as JV Insider. You guys may have heard of them or may not, but it's a big group of a bunch of people that are all trying to do the same thing. They're all trying to get leads. They're all trying to generate, you know, systems. It's a good place for me to prospect and teach those people the ACT program. So it's a good place for me to be. I'm not there to get help. I'm there to help others. A lot of times, like I'll join a mastermind group, not with the intention of getting help. I'm there to offer help, offer solutions. So I'll join things for different reasons than other people will join them. But anyway, that's JV Insider. And like I said, the article was already written here, and it doesn't really have much of anything to do with the 50 conversion maximizers. I'm just lazy. I just took an existing blog post and stuffed this at the top so I didn't have to make a landing page. So, and then here it's linked to Kartra. And grab your free copy now. Now they can download it. So, and again, I was so lazy on this. I had all I did with this, like probably 2 years ago, I made this list of conversion maximizers. And all I did was I just bulleted out what they were. I didn't say anything about them or how to use them or any of that. And instead of actually filling this out, I just gave them the bulleted list. And then as a special bonus, I'm going to give them a Zoom, or where is it? Oh, in the email. When I actually deliver them the email, I tell them, here is just a list. I'm going to do a free webinar for you where I go through each of the 50. That way they will show up for that because they're going to see these and they're all going to want to use them. And then I'm going to show them how to do that in the video. In the video, I'm going to spend an hour with them. They're going to get to know me. I'm going to create a massive amount of trust and rapport in that video. I'm going to make a lot of subtle connections to the ACT program in the video with the conversion maximizers. So, and then I'm going to make them an offer to join the ACT program. So it's, you know, and you can see when you download this, it's a PDF. I'll open it up here. So it's the graphic again. Talk a little bit about how important it is, you know, for your business to always be on the drive for traffic and generating leads and converting. And then I'd literally just list them out like eyebrow callouts. Nobody knows what that is. They're going to have to get on the video so I can go through here and talk about all of these, how important they are, how to use them, all that stuff. And then I also offer free consultations on the website. I'm sure you guys have all seen that. Let's see, on the website, if we go back to the homepage, on the homepage here, it's the free 15-minute marketing review and strategy session. So I do like website reviews there. And then over in Kartra, we can see conversion maximizers, 187 people have downloaded that. I just got 187 new prospects that are now going to watch that video and buy the ACT program. So if I go into lists, let's see here. This is the website evaluation. That's this. This is basically what I call my website evaluation. And if we look in Kartra, there's been 1,121 people. I've got 1,100 leads from the website by offering that right at the top of the fold. Not everybody's, you know, they all sign up. Not everybody shows up, but it's, you know, it's a pretty good lead generation tool. You need to be offering things on your website. You need to have calls to action. If you look at, you know, at my site, I've got that call to action right there above the fold. I've also got this thing, client acquisition. That's kind of an intriguing phrase. They click on that. It's another call to action. It's how to get predictable clients, a predictable client getting system. Anybody in business, that's a pretty good driving factor to have a predictable client getting system. I don't think there's anybody listening today that's going to say, nah, that's not what I want. I don't want predictable. I don't want a predictable way to get clients, right? If you tell me you don't want a predictable way to get clients, I'm going to say, that's cool. It's just not really, we're not a good fit. I'm not sure why you're here, but thanks for coming. You know, that's pretty much the reality of it. And this technically, this is what's called an eyebrow call out. I made mention of that. This is a call out of saying, if then, if you want to scale your business, you need a predictable way to get new clients. That's an eyebrow call out. That's a conversion maximizer right there, live in action. You're basically telling them at first glance, hey, if you want this, then you need that. That right there is going to make them want it. And that's a call out. And it's up in the eyebrow. It's the top. It's like whatever's at the top, they call that the eyebrow. So, you know, these are lead generation systems. And like I said, the JV Insider Circle, that was one of the groups that I signed up for this group almost a year ago. And they've been reaching out to all their members, you know, every time there's an opportunity. And I've never done it. I'm sitting here thinking, why did I even join this thing? I've not gotten anything out of it. And then, just this thing just hit a couple of weeks ago. And I thought, what the hell, before my subscription, expires to this, let me at least take advantage of something. Well, I got almost 200 leads out of it so far, just from doing that one thing. And then from that, it's really interesting. Just from that one thing, other things have come up. Like here's another one. I just got sent this. This is another summit that wants me to speak. Another one, this one here, this is one that they're actually having me be the speaker. This one costs me nothing. They saw my lead magnets, saw how well they converted, and they asked me to be a free speaker. I didn't even have to pay for this one. And it snowballs. Once you start speaking, people start seeing you, you start doing good stuff, the offers start coming in. It's that initial momentum. You have to do something to get it started. But it's that initial momentum, and then you just ride the wave. The more that come down the pike, the more you say yes to. Until you get to the point where you just don't want anymore. Another one, a lot of you guys probably know Michelle Calloway. She just asked me to speak to her Tech with Heart group. Same thing. They're discovering how powerful and how effective the ACT program actually is. And they're wanting to sell it. They're wanting to make the profits off of it. And I am perfectly happy with that. I don't need it all. I just want to help people. And in many ways, not just help them by the content in the ACT program, but help the others that maybe need extra income that know people it could help. They can refer it. They can make money too. So that's pretty much what it's all about, really. And Barbara Cunningham, you had your hand up there.
Hey, John, I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Several processors on websites now are asking that the OFAC countries be eliminated from the checkout page. Do you have any solution that would make this easy to do?
What's OFAC?
It's all those countries that they don't want you to sell products to because the banks just will not underwrite you.
Gotcha. Okay, so
I can send you a list of the countries if you want.
third world countries.
Yeah.
Most shopping cart software has that. Like we do a lot of WooCommerce development. And in WooCommerce, there's a module that you can enable, and you can actually check off what countries you want to be able to sell to. So that's an easy one in WooCommerce. I don't know offhand in Kartra if they have that or not.
I don't think they have it in Kartra, John, because like I'm getting like all kinds of people wanting to be affiliates from like weird countries I can't even pronounce right now.
Yeah. The
But
other
John,
thing,
these aren't just third world countries. These are the countries that the State Department has said that is prohibited to do business with.
Yeah.
I would think that would be an ongoing list maintained by somebody else that WooCommerce would just say enable.
Yeah, Barbara, what I would probably do is check with authorized.net. I bet you they have some kind of a filter built in.
Yeah, so I'm working with people who are using Infusionsoft, and I thought they would have a filter built in, and they don't.
Okay, what about like the gateway itself, like authorized.net?
I'll check with authorized.net. They may have it.
I would think the pressure would be heavy on them to do that.
Yeah.
Because they're like the baseline, they're the core.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what I would check with first, because that'd be an easy fix. It wouldn't matter what shopping cart you were using. You just check the button and away you go.
Yeah. Well, this is the first, but I got hit with it twice this week already. And it's like, so I mean, it's going to roll out to everybody eventually. Your processor is going to require this.
Yeah.
But, on new approvals, you can't get somebody approved now unless you get that uploaded onto the website.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we were looking for a fast a fast way to plug that in, you know?
What you might do is you might actually write it up for them, like what they need to have on their website. Just write it up as a general statement and just have them add it to their policies page.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I could do that too.
And then that way you could send a blast email out to everybody, just say, hey, add this to your policies page and you'll be covered. And I think with the combination of that and checking with authorized.net, I bet you they have that. They've got a lot of different stuff in there for security filters.
I mean, I just thought, like when the processor came back to me, I just said to the client, oh, I'm sure that's Infusionsoft has something to do that for you,
Yeah, I doubt it.
That they didn't, right? But authorized.net, I didn't think to go to the gateway.
Yeah, I would just go to the core on that one.
So I'll let you know.
All right, awesome. Yeah, that's important to me and anybody that's processing credit cards.
Yeah. Well, and as I said, what happens is when a new policy like this gets instated, it only initially hits new approvals, right?
Yeah.
But 3 to 6 months down the road, they're going to roll it out and say everybody now has to have this on their website, right? And they're going to start to do checks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so everybody's got a little time, but not if you want a new approval.
Yeah, sure. Well, I would make it easy for them. I'd write the statement up and just say, put this on your policies page or add it somewhere wherever they want to see it and attack it that way.
They were asking me more for a click box, the processor that I'm trying to get approvals through was looking to eliminate countries.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That they would, so that they wouldn't be allowed to check out.
Gotcha. No, I know that, like I said, in WooCommerce, they have that.
Yeah.
They have, by country, and you can eliminate, or you can eliminate all of them, and then you can just activate the ones you want.
Right. So the web developer I'm working with, if authorized.net doesn't have it, he'll be able to pull it from WooCommerce.
Yeah. Because I know we have a lot of customers that they don't want to ship out of the country. So they only want to sell to US addresses.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, John, could I just mention along Barbara's line, it is our processor that we use that let me know that if you want to, sorry, you cannot sell to, and then it listed the countries. Just as an FYI to me as the client, the processor won't let me choose to sell to them.
It's because of the banking rules. Yeah. So.
All right, Mr. Richard, you got your hand up there.
Yes, I do, sir. I have what I thought was, email seems like such an innocuous thing. You have email, you send email, you get email. Boy, have I stumbled on. I would like you to, if you could, to kind of do a real deep dive into email and how it really works. I'll give you my basic understanding that it took me over a day to research to find out what my current thinking is on it, and tell me if I'm right or not. You have an email, essentially an email hosting service. And I've discovered from a couple of people that the Gmail workspace where you actually have your name, your domain stuff and a bunch of things like that. But then, hold on, Hannah. What about sending email blasts? And what about Kartra? And what about, it goes on and on and on. There's all these integrations and they don't have anything to do with who's hosting your website. And if they don't, then how do they send email for you? And there's where the curtain starts getting opaque for me. I don't get it.
Gotcha. Okay. So email is a service of DNS, which DNS is domain name service. And it's kind of the routing on the internet. It's how your website is found, how anything is routed throughout the internet. And it's mostly based on IP address. So when you buy a domain, you have to set a thing called name servers. Like if you buy it at GoDaddy, they automatically set their own name servers for you. And then they want to host your site and they want to sell you all of their garbage products. But most people don't want to go with the GoDaddy services because, you know, they're not very great, other than their domain registry is fine. But they want to have hosting on another site, or maybe they want to have Gmail for their Gmail service. So they go in and they change the name servers. So you point the name servers to where you want that DNS, all of your DNS records to be held. And those records say mail is over here, websites over there, this is here, this is there. Anything that you're going to have related to your domain name has those records to them. So that being said, wherever that record points to say this is where my mail is, that's who's hosting your mail. So it doesn't matter if it's your hosting provider or G Suite services, or some people go with Outlook. Doesn't matter. The mail is served from that point. So somebody like Kartra, what they're doing is they're relaying your mail. They're not actually sending it through your server. They're sending it through their server on your behalf. That's why they're so particular that you don't spam across their system. If you do, they just block you out and they say you have to use another mail provider. So whoever your mail provider is, this is what gets into deliverability rate. Like if you're sending mail out, nobody's receiving your mail. A lot of people could be blocking it because you have a poor reputation on your mail server. If you send out a bunch of spam and you get a poor reputation on your mail server, there's other servers that when you send mail to them, they will not accept it. They just won't let it through their gate because of that. If you have such a low reputation, they're just going to say nobody gets through the gate unless they're a reputation of X. So a couple of things that can affect that reputation score is sending mail that's undeliverable. If you have an old mailing list that you haven't cleaned in a while and you've got a quarter of the email addresses are no good and they're going to bounce, that's going to give you a poor reputation on that mail server. So if you get a poor reputation, your mail's not going to get delivered very well. That's what Kartra does not want. That's why they're really particular about that. They'll make you go through another service to send the mail. So that's really kind of it in a nutshell as far as mail. You know, you have whoever is hosting your mail, there's an actual mail server there. And there's a couple of different services that a mail server provides. One of them is a POP service, which is like a POP email account. That's a box where you can send and accept mail. SMTP service, that's the send mail protocol. That's the service that actually sends the mail across the internet. There's another one called Imap. Imap is where if you want to store your mail on the mail server itself and not download it to a mail reader, POP is for downloading it to a mail reader. Imap is for if you want to store it on the server so you can have access to all of your past mail from any computer, then the Imap is what you typically want to use. The problem with Imap is it starts collecting and it starts becoming a very jumbo file on the server where you're hosting your mail. And then it can slow your mail down. It can slow all of your processes down. So there's pros and cons to all of it. So I don't know if that answered your question specifically, but that's kind of an overview of how mail works.
Well, the complication or the thing where it starts getting fuzzy is, well, first off, Gmail's an IMAP server, but I'm having them download it into Outlook because I want to have it on my computer. I don't want to have to go online every day and try and get my mail. I want it to automatically download. So I've got that set up. Do I have to go back and clean out some kind of a historical mailbox on Gmail so it doesn't get loaded up and slow things down?
If there's settings in there that says, if I download it to this particular mail reader, remove it from the server. Like that's typically what a lot of people do to keep it cleaned up. Like they'll have their business computer and this is their main computer. So they look at the stuff from a bunch of other locations, and then at some point they can say, okay, download it here and remove it from the server. Or you can set server settings that say only keep the mail for 90 days or 120 days, stuff like that. Or you can log in and you can just remove it manually.
Okay, well, that part's pretty straightforward, but then there are integrations because Gmail is certainly not want to set up, they're not going to set up autoresponders and all that sort of thing. So if I want to use something like, Aweber or, SendReach or some of these, some other mail service for managing the mail lists and doing promotions and getting, that's where it starts getting strange. How do they do it if it's hosted over at Gmail? I mean,
Okay, no, that's an easy one. In your mail, no matter who's hosting your mail, you will have mail settings. Like SMTP is to send mail. So when you set up an autoresponder, it's going to want to send mail on your behalf. So you get your SMTP settings from your mail provider. That's what you plug in, and it lets that other integration now send mail using your mail server.
So it's so both you and they are, because one of the things that's kind of confusing is I've lost 2 domains since 95 to spam. When it starts getting 200-300 emails a day and it's all spam, and it's all coming to the same email address. I finally figured out a way around that, and that's if you set up a catch-all service and you give everybody that you want to get email from their own email address. That's why my email address for you is SEO Dominators and I have rp2.me because it's a very short domain. It's easy to do. And that's where I want to get all of my, what I guess I call my day-to-day mail, where, if you want to contact me or my bank wants to contact me or anybody that I want to have one-on-one personal interactions with, I give that email address to. However, the category of one stuff, that's all going to be marketing and sales stuff for category of one, and I want that completely separate. And matter of fact, if anybody who has my rp2.me extension, that's people I want to get personal email from, not business email from. I'm trying to separate them out that way. And as a result, when I signed up for Kartra, I'm using my personal stuff because I want to get anything from Kartra. If I'm getting an email that says Kartra at rp2.me, I know it's from Kartra, and I know it's specifically an admin level communication. It's not a marketing level communication. Keeping those separate, and because I don't think if Kartra, because here's the confusion. If I have Gmail hosting it and I have Kartra doing some email lists and that sort of thing for doing marketing, but I want that to go to the category, through the category of one email, do I need to have that set up separately through an Aweber account? Or you see, once you start stacking on integrations and stuff, who has control of the ball starts getting really fuzzy to me. And that's what I'm kind of trying to get squared away and straight in my head.
Well, the short answer is you're in control of all of it. You can have it do whatever you want it to do. You can, if you want your mail to go out off of a certain address, you just use the SMTP settings for that address to send the mail. Like if you want that to go through an autoresponder or through Kartra or whatever, that would be the way you would do it. As far as, having mail come in, I know what you're doing. You're trying to eliminate spam, and naming emails and giving those out to certain people and all that. For my email, I use Firefox, and I have a filter in there. Firefox comes with internal filtering. You can set up filters for doing any action you want. So if I get mail from somebody I don't want to get mail from ever again, I just go in and I create a filter and I say, put this in the trash. Any mail that comes in from this address, trash it or delete it or send them a message back that says, I don't want to hear from you again. And it'll automatically do that from that point forward.
But Obi-Wan, the people that are spamming use those 400 character long junk, things before the @. You cannot possibly filter those out because they send it from a different server every time.
Oh
But-
yeah, you can do something like anything that starts with an @ symbol, trash it. Anything that starts with any one of those symbols, there's all kinds of rules you can put in. And all you have to do is start looking at the ones that are coming in and grab some kind of a characteristic of it, make a filter for it, and it's gone. If you're afraid that you're going to filter somebody out that you really want, all you have to do is put a response in there. Say, not only are you going to delete this, I want you to reply to it and say, I'm really sorry this hit my spam trigger. If you really need to get mail to me, give me a call. Here's my number. Or here's an email address. Put an email address in there. If it's a spam, they're not going to go back. They're not going to read their email if it's spam. But if it's a real customer or something, they'll get that reply back and they'll say, oh, okay, cool, I'll do that.
Yeah, well, I never found a standard character. Anything that comes before the @. Somehow, even though it's supposed to be, the email, the domains I lost were all basically Richard at a particular domain. And whoever it was coming from, which is how you would want to filter it, because if it's I want to get my mail because everything that was coming to me comes to Richard, but it would be Richard at my domain, but it would be coming from some spam, and who it was coming from was always something different. It was always a jumble, and there was no way of setting up if an email is coming from, which is where the rule has to be set. There was no way of identifying the from unless, and now a good example is when I set up an email for GoDaddy, every once in a while somebody will scrape GoDaddy and get the registrars and stuff. So I start getting spam at my GoDaddy address. GoDaddy goes to spam, and I change my email at GoDaddy to GoDaddy 1. I think I'm up to GoDaddy 4 at this point, because 3 or 4 times people have scraped it and start sending stuff to my GoDaddy address. And
well, Richard, I've had the same thing. I mean, I'm telling you, I've created a filter system that's got rid of 99% of that junk. I use John at internetdominators.com, and I've used it for 20 years.
Wow, you're smarter than I am. I'm not.
Every time I see one, I just add to the filter. And my filter list is pretty extensive at this point.
I would bet. I guess the integrations is the part that confuses me. So do I need a and just as an example, do I need an Aweber account to send my marketing emails in addition to Kartra, or is Kartra set up to actually send out marketing emails to lists and things like that?
I use Kartra to send all my marketing emails, but it's only to people that have signed up through Kartra, and it's all very specific to what they've signed up for.
Okay, because I just signed up for Kartra, and it seems like they dump a bucket of data on you, and it's not much good. And I'm finding that it's data, but it's not information. And information is what you need to actually go through the Kartra. And it looks to me, is there a shortcut to be able to hit just the high points of Kartra without having to go into their teachable section, and they've got hundreds of lessons on hundreds of things, and I don't know how to sort through it to get to just what I need to set up a couple of landing pages and set up some emails. There's some shortcuts.
Sure. Yeah, Kartra has phenomenal training. They've got a million little training videos on anything you want. What they don't have is they don't have overarching umbrella type training of how to use the system. That's why I did funnel camp. I did funnel camp last year, and it was a 2-day seminar where I went through of here's how to set up a campaign in Kartra. And I actually set the campaign up over the 2 days. It wouldn't have taken 2 days to set it up, but because I was teaching and training through it, it was a 2-day deal. So there's that funnel camp training that I did. I've also done some quick training. If you look in the bonus section in the ACT program, there's a video that I did in there covering Kartra that kind of does that in a very short order. It's probably a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. But they also have templates inside Kartra, and I've covered this on several of the trainings as well. There's templates in there that you can import of campaigns that are already done, and then you just have to go in and change, your settings, put your stuff in there instead of theirs. And that's a quick way. If you're looking for a quick solution, you just pick a template that does what you want to do and pop it in there and just edit it. That's a quick way to go about it.
Yeah, that doesn't, I've not found any of the templates that actually are a sequence that match the sequence that I'm trying to do. I'm following a coaching training from somebody on how to do YouTube ads, and they don't have anything in there that follows the sequence that he wants me to follow to do his method of doing YouTube ads. So
well, Kartra is very easy to set up anything you want. So
that funnel camp training available somewhere in there in our back end. I've signed up for just about everything.
Yeah, it should be. I'll send you a link. You might have already signed up for it, so I'll look and send you a link to it.
I appreciate it.
Hey, John, could I ask a quick elaborating question on the topic you just talked about, the email filters that you set up?
Sure.
If you're a hosting company, I know you host your own, but for us normal people, we have to have a hosting company. And the hosting company lets you set up an email to that domain and has filtering built into their system. And then obviously our clients also have filtering. So do you set up filters at the hosting server level or at the client level?
Well, actually both. As a host, we have firewalls on all of our servers sit behind firewalls, and they sit behind multiple firewalls. One firewall is just for mail. And to give you an idea, we block over 1 million messages per hour off of our mail firewall.
Oh, that's a lot of manual filters to set up.
Those aren't manual filters. Those are filters set at the server level. That's like from like, we're not letting mail through from Pakistan, for instance. So if you've got an outsourcer in Pakistan, you get his IP address and we whitelist him for you. So you can get mail through back and forth to him. But just in general, no other mail from Pakistan is going to be real. So we just block it all. And if any of our clients, say, hey, I can't get mail from this address, then we whitelist it for them. But generically, that keeps about 1 million junk mails off of our customers per hour. It's crazy how much mail is just garbage. So that's our front end firewall. And then depending on what we're hosting, like if we've got somebody on cPanel has Spam Assassin, and they can go in and individually set their filter rating of, if it has X score, delete it. If it's got under that, let it through. And they can kind of ramp that up and down. But what I'm talking about, like for me, what I've done, because I've used all of that and stuff still gets through. So what I've done is I use Firefox for my mail server, for my mail reader rather. And I've just used the standard filtration inside of Firefox. Every time I see something that, multiple times, I'm like, okay, I don't ever need to see that again. So I'll just, I'll grab part of the subject line, not the whole thing, because then they keep appending the end. But I'll grab the common part of it, the part that is common across a bunch of different emails from a bunch of different senders. And I'll just say, anything that has this in it anywhere, throw it in the trash. So that's how I've done it. And, I say I got a complicated filter. I probably have maybe 200 lines in the filter, 200 different things, and it's blocked out 99% of the junk. So that's how I do it. Now there's the other case of you might be sending messages to someone and they might be landing in their spam filter. The only thing that you can do with that is increase your reputation of your own mail server. If you're on Google, like Gmail, this is one of the good things. They charge you for additional for the mail service. But if you use G Suite, they are really good at deliverability. People usually trust anything coming off the Gmail IP addresses pretty well because they know they don't allow spam. They know they cut the spammers off pretty quickly, and it's not just a free-for-all. So if you're concerned about deliverability, paying, I think it's like $4 or $5 a month for an email box there might be worthwhile. They also have incredible spam filtering coming in as well. So I know a lot of people that have moved to that, very happy with it. Myself, I don't think I would want my mail running across G Suite. Some of the things I'm talking about, they don't need to know about. So, all right.
Given that they're already looking at, given that you're on your browser and in your browser before you are, it's kind of like,
yeah, yeah, they know enough about me. I don't need to give them any more clues. So another thing I'll end with this. I wanted to share for any of you guys that are resellers or looking to generate leads for people that have websites. If you supply any kind of web services and you're looking for leads, I'm testing out a new piece of software called Local Hero. I just bought it last week and I haven't had a chance to use it, but I got the license where I can give it away. And once I get through testing it, I think this thing from all indicators, it looks like this is going to be a good lead generator for web leads. And if that's the case, I'll come back, I'll review it, I'll show you how it works, I'll show you how I'm using it. And if any of you want a copy of it, I can get that for you for free. So I bought the reseller license for it so I could give it away. So I always do that. Like I buy a lot of stuff, for the group, and then I'll test it. Most of it you never see because it winds up being junk. But I buy a lot of them. I look at them. This one though, I think has some potential. So I got a couple people testing it, reviewing it for me, and we'll see if it works. If it does, it's all yours.
I've heard that.
John, before you go.
Yeah.
I received the email about this traffic and conversion San Diego, September.
Yes.
And you said there's a free gift ticket. I went to the site. Is the networking pass the one that's free? It says at the bottom, it says your promos applied. That's the one we get, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So that allows you to go to the main, like the main conference. It just doesn't allow you to go to the learning tracks and stuff. You have to pay for that, but it'll let you into the trade show and you can see all the keynote speakers and all that. And it's a good conference. It's a really good conference. So if
are you going to be there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm in.
I'm going to be there. I may even have the boat down there for that. I'm trying to get a courtesy slip. If I can get a courtesy slip, then that's where I will be staying.
Thank you, John.
First mate privileges.
All right. So anyway, you guys should have all gotten that email. If you're interested in traffic and conversion, that's Ryan Dice's thing he's been doing for the last 15 years or 10 years or however long it's been. And it's a great conference. A lot of people are there. You know, there's a lot of the who's who in the internet marketing world is definitely going to be there. So cool stuff.
John.
Monique, yes.
Hi. Hey, John. I know that Woody really wanted to be on the Zoom call today, but he wasn't available. He was wondering, now that we've switched the site, I know he texted you about a landing page. He's wondering how we can make it look, you know, like they're not on a on his, you know, Woody's real estate site versus the site for the Disabled No More. If you have any advice on that, and then you know, some general advice on what we can do to you know, move forward with creating you know, this advertising towards that. He only has about 35 days till he's on his vacation to Europe, and he's hoping to actually do some promotion out there, meet with some organizers of disabled advocates and stuff like that. He's actually trying to go a little bit big with this, but I'm wondering myself if this is moving a little bit too quickly, and I wanted your advice on that part.
Well, I had talked to him about he's almost circled back to the first step of the program where he was back in the beginning. And what I told him, this is what I told him to begin with about that whole thing, is he's trying to create a movement. And that's something I personally don't have any experience with, trying to create a massive movement like that. But what I do know about it is it's incredibly expensive to do that. It's like you don't have anything that you're selling. You're trying to get a bunch of people indoctrinated into a movement, and you better have the means to do that, which I don't think he does. And I know it's a noble cause and all that, but it's not really a business unless he's figured out, you know, what he's selling, who's going to buy it, why they want it, all of that stuff. So it's kind of like,
we actually have a few ideas on what we do want to sell on the back end of this after we've gotten a bunch of people into it for free. You know, any disabled who want to join us, we're going to advocate for them to big business, and basically, you know, send letters to any business. Hey, by the way, you might have mistreated somebody, and you know, here's our big sell. Here is something that we can provide for a price on, and it's basically like how to treat somebody better. Here's a newsletter that you can join, you know, a membership that you can join, and we'll give you advice, blah, blah, blah. And then we might also be a small marketplace in order to join, you know, A to B, the corporation to whatever product they might need in order to, you know, complete that package.
Yeah, the best advice that I could give on that whole thing is to find somebody that's willing to sponsor it.
Okay.
Because Woody, I guarantee you, Woody does not have enough money to make that fly.
Yes.
I mean, by a long shot.
Okay.
He doesn't have the resources. Yeah, it's a great noble cause, but it's a movement he's trying to create.
He's looking for volunteers in the disabled community to help.
He doesn't need
perpetrates
the
movement.
He doesn't need volunteers. He needs cash, and a lot of it.
Yeah. But advice on the website landing page, the website in general, does he need to create a new one, or the landing page? Should we get create a whole new landing page type thing?
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like it's Woody Blackman, you know, realty.com you know, to just kind of,
Well, he's under the basic umbrella now of woodyblagman.com. So he could do
Yeah.
anything he wanted under that domain.
Mhm.
You could create a separate section of it, you know, for this, and then you could have a section for, you know, his real estate specialty. So you could do that. That
And
wouldn't be a problem.
possibly create like a short URL for that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have a different URL and it just forwards you right to that part of the website.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
that's no problem. But you know, back to the whole thing of creating a movement, you're probably his best shot of pulling that off is to find some major corporate sponsor and just follow their lead. They will probably have something that they want, and you can just show up and be the one to provide it for them.
Ah, okay. And do you think his 30 plus days is a good / possible amount of time before he's doing large promotion for this?
Well, he doesn't
This,
have anything to promote, I don't think.
yeah, that's
long
kind of where
he's a long way away from promoting anything, unless you know something I don't. Woody bounces from one thing to another at the speed
Yeah.
of light.
we don't even have a logo yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that 30 days from not really having a focus is going to be promotable.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
to give you an idea, the fastest I've ever seen from concept to promotion is about a week and a half. But it was somebody that was very focused. They knew exactly, they had their market figured out. They had what they wanted figured out. It was ready to deliver. And they literally were just putting a campaign together. They did it in about a week and a half.
Oh, they were just putting the campaign, not the whole premise, mission,
Correct.
logo, that brand, all of it. Okay.
Yeah. They already had all of that done. And it was the fastest one. And it's probably the most successful one I've seen yet. Made the guy multiple millions of dollars. Still making them.
And he'd done it before?
He had never done it before.
Ooh.
He was a greenhorn.
I'd like to pick his brain.
Well, all he did was he just followed the ACT program, but he had everything together. He was very clear on what he did. He was very clear on who he did it for. He was very clear on why they wanted it. And it was just a matter of plugging the pieces into Kartra. And he, you know, I helped him a little bit with it, but he followed it like dead on. Everything he did was right by the numbers, and you know,
grounded.
We knew his avatar was in LinkedIn. We targeted him in LinkedIn, and within a week he had a multi-million-dollar contract.
Jesus.
And within 3 months he had probably a half a dozen of them, and then he stopped the ad. He's like, "This is all I'm ever going to need for the rest of my life. Thank you."
Woohoo! Did you get a commission, John?
No, it made me feel really good though to have helped him pull that off. Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you.
So absolutely. But
John, I got a quick question for you.
Okay.
Sorry for making it go a little longer. I was just curious on your take on video content as far as like YouTube and TikTok. What is the best method to go about?
I don't know much about TikTok, honestly.
Okay.
But video in general, the thing about video is it's the same as any other piece of content. It's only as good as long as you can hold them. So,
okay. So look at the data.
Yeah, it's all about the content of the video. It's all about who it's speaking to. And then the video, and this goes with any piece of content, but especially video. The video, you have a really good chance of getting them to take an action because you're talking to them and you can tell them what to do. People love to be told what to do, and they actually follow instructions for the most part. So make sure you're not just creating video for the sake of, making cute TikTok videos. Make a video that grabs their attention, tells them what to do, tells them why they want it, all that. You could actually use Frank Kern's 3-step thing. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. You can do that in 15 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know how long a TikTok video is, but I think they're short snippets, and
You got about 60 seconds or less to get their attention.
yeah,
We'll,
so
we'll
you
get it in 3. You got 60 seconds once you have it.
Yeah, if you can get it in 15, give them the call to action and just let the call to action sit there for 45 seconds. I would do that.
Okay.
That's basically what I would do. That's another trick that you can do in YouTube is, if your video, let's say your video's 2 minutes or 3 minutes, what you don't want is at the end of the video, another video is going to pop up. You don't want that. So what I'll do is a 3-minute video, I'll put a 3-minute trailer on it. That's just blank air with the call to action sitting there. So they are either going to follow the instructions, or the thing's just going to sit there and look at them for 3 minutes. But that next video will not come up and take their attention away from me.
Right. Okay.
And there was, I forget his name, but there was a video marketer, and he did that. And after about 2 minutes of that, it was just a black screen with the call to action, go to www. And after about 2 minutes of that, it was on a green screen. He peeked his head out and he goes, "Oh my God, are you still here?" And it was hilarious. He's like, "I fell asleep. I thought you guys were all gone," and he's like, "Seriously, you need to go there now." And it worked really good for him. It really did. So there's all just be different, be unique, be captivating, get them to do, what you want them to do. Yeah, you're in the entertainment business, believe it or not. You gotta entertain. And it's an interesting world we live in, right?
It is. Thank you.
It's a product of the Chinese government, and they're using it to spy on Americans. 60 Minutes documented that, so I stay away from TikTok, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't know much about TikTok, but anyway, guys, thank you all for being here. Another great day. So keep up the good work, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Good to see everybody.
John.
Take care, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Best of luck.